Thank you, Senators, and thank you for your adherence to the strict limits that we're working with here this evening.
All these other people get in the way.
Okay.
This is 4 times the amount of time that Joe and I get in these other debates.
We're happy.
Well, as you well know, you are here in an industrial city in a rural state. And over the past 30 years or so, we've had some pretty rough times at various times. And right now, I think there is a lot of concern, it's fair to say, over economic security among the American people. What will your administration do to improve the declining economic security of low and middle income Americans, Senator Biden?
1% of the people in America made 21.8% of all the income in America, according to the Wall Street Journal today. I changed the tax system. I get rid of the Bush tax cuts. I focus on the middle class. Secondly, I have a trade policy that promotes jobs, does not cost American jobs. I would spend billions of dollars, as I proposed back in '92, to rebuild the infrastructure of the United States of America, bridges, roads, highways, tunnels. That would create tens of thousands of jobs, between $50,000 and $80,000 a year. I provide national health care and fundamentally all of the education systems for every single child who qualified to go to college, unlike the 400,000 who did this year who could not go because they couldn't afford it. I guarantee that every single solitary child in America is able to go to college, and the entire package for that, getting to college, would be $9 billion a year. That's less than we spend in 1 month in the war in Iraq. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to focus on creating jobs, not exporting jobs, and I'll answer that telephone for you. Thank you.
Senator Dodd.
Well, again, I think there are 3 main reasons we've seen people falling behind. Middle-income Americans have watched their earning power decline by $1,300 over the last 6 years, and falling every single day. The costs, our energy costs, healthcare costs, higher education costs are the principal culprits. I've already mentioned what healthcare costs, an 87% increase in 6 years have done to the budgets of working families. So dealing with healthcare, which we've addressed to some degree, is critically important. Dealing with energy costs, this state can play a major role in that. These costs are rising all the time, adding different additional burdens on people, and obviously education costs. We've laid out a strong plan here of how we expand Pell Grants, make them more accessible to middle-income families here. Dealing with the student loan program, which has been a rip-off for one group after another in this country, raising the cost of higher education, which is going to be absolutely critical to expand people's economic opportunities. I also believe that we need to have more union households in this country. I think it's unfortunate we see the decline in union households. The presence of union households has made it a difference for a middle class to emerge. That 40-hour work week, those working conditions were not given out as a gift to people. They were hard-fought provisions that people earned as a result of our efforts. We want to restore that middle class. I think people ought to have the right to organize and collectively bargain. That will make a big difference on behalf of people increasing their earning power in this country as well. And certainly the minimum wage. Again, people at the lower income levels have a decent wage where they can raise a family. We raised it a little bit in the last year. Frankly, more needs to be done to give people an opportunity to provide for their families and keep those families together. Those are some of the things I think would make a big difference in restoring some optimism and confidence among people in this country who feel that this country is not providing a decent living for them.
Thank you, Senator Dodd. Senator Biden.
There is a middle class because of organized labor. From 1947 to 1972, when organized labor represented 1 in 4 Americans in the workforce, by 100% the middle class grew. From 1972 to 2007, it represented 1 in 10 the middle class failed. The Employee Free Choice Act should be signed tomorrow.
Senator Dodd.
So let me I talk about what we'll do, but I think it's important as well as what we have done. When I passed the Family and Medical Leave Act, this radical idea that you ought not to lose your job during the birth or adoption of the illness of a child or a family member. When I wrote the first child care legislation, working families, again, single parents raising children, 2 incomes in the household. Where's that affordable, quality, available child care that can really help working families if they go out paying an average of $10,000 for child care costs? People starting out cannot afford those costs.